Okay, so when it comes to precision shooting and taking our zero to the next level, I want to discuss something that I learned from listening to 3 hours of a Hornady podcast that they did, and it was titled Your Groups Are Too Small, and then another one called The Wandering Zero. So, I'm guilty of this. I've watched professionals be guilty of this, and it's something that is very predominant in the precision world and long range shooting world when it comes to zeroing our rifles. And essentially is our zeroing groups are too small. And so they suggest a 20 shot zero. And I'm going to kind of explain why. So you may be told that your gun shoots one MOA, which is 1 inch at 100 yards, and it's guaranteed that accuracy out of the box from the manufacturer. However, once you get behind the rifle and all of those factors are taken into place about your shooting abilities, that rifle in a vise may actually be able to shoot 1 inch at 100 yards for 20 rounds. However, that doesn't mean you can. So we go out to the range, we zero our rifle, and we're going to do a 3 shot group. So this is what they're talking about when it comes to the concept of wandering zero. Is let's say we go out and we shoot a group like this. It's a tight group. However, it's a little high and a little left, and it's a little bit outside of our 1 inch circle. So we may have the inkling to go, okay, I'm going to come down a 1/4 inch and I'm going to come to the right a 1/4 inch, and that should center me up. And then we do that and we shoot our next group, and we get one here and one there and one there. And we go, all right, cool, my gun's zeroed. I got those 3 shots in the center of the group. And then 3 months go later, 3 months go by, and we decide that we're gonna zero our gun again. And we come out and we shoot a group, a 3 shot group like this. And we go, oh man, my zero's off. Okay, well, I'm gonna come over a 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna come up a 1/4 inch. And then we shoot a group up here, like so. After we go, well, I'm kind of in there. So if you can see here, from group 1 to group 2 to group 3 to group 4, we have this zero that is wandering. This is a common thing. So our gun and Hornady has done these tests time and time again where they've shot 100 shot groups. And there's very, very few rifles on the planet that can get 100 shots in a 1 inch group. And not only that, if you put yourself behind the rifle, that's going to be impossible. So this is what they're saying is you should increase your group size when you are confirming your zero. And this is what I would suggest you do when you go out and do it is do different drills. So you're not just sitting there prone shooting 20 shots. I think that's a waste of ammunition. But your gun naturally, there's a thing called a cone of dispersion, and that's that 100 shot group where eventually you can shoot as many rounds as you want, and you're eventually going to get some sort of circular pattern like this when you start looking at your target downrange. So you could shoot 100 rounds. Now, let's say it starts to open up and it's outside of that 1 inch group. And this is just me drawing circles, but it could be like this. But eventually, you're going to get some sort of circular pattern, which now your group looks like a 1.5 inch group. So your rifle, no matter how many rounds you shoot, is eventually going to print a group that is circular in nature. It's called a cone of dispersion. So what they want you to do, and their suggestion is to shoot a 20 shot group. So we don't get this wandering zero. So for example, let's say we do shoot 20. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so now we have a pretty good idea where our cone of dispersion is. Now what we do is we take our zeroing just off of the center here. And so that center is off a 1/4 inch here to go down a 1/4 inch and then come to the left a 1/4 inch. Now the center of our cone of dispersion will be in the center of the target. So that doesn't mean you won't hit here one shot and one here shot and one here shot, or maybe even one here, and one here. But that is still within your 1 inch cone of dispersion on your rifle. So if you come out to the range one day and you've done a 20 shot group and it was up here and you move to here, and then the next day you come out and you shoot a group like this, that's frustrating because you're like, well, I want all my rounds touching. However, if you look at the cone of dispersion on your rifle, that is acceptable hits because they're in that 1 inch circle or a 1.5 inch circle, and they are still within that circular pattern of the cone of dispersion. So, and then the next day you come out and you happen to get a shot group like that. That's awesome. And we all are happy and we all leave great. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time. So, what I suggest is a 20 shot group so that we don't have this wandering zero principle happening like I'm talking about over here. Because you will chase your tail all day. Because one day you're going to be over here, and then you're going like, well, I need to adjust down and to the right. So you adjust down and to the right, and the next day, because it was actually in the cone of dispersion, you're shooting right here, and then you're trying to adjust up and to the left. You're going to chase your tail all day long. Doing that, you're going to waste ammunition. So do it right up front. Shoot a 20 shot group and then adjust your zero off of that. And so you're adjusting the center of your cone of dispersion or your 20 round group to the center of your point of aim. Then, anytime you go to the range, as long as you have your shots somewhere within that proper cone of dispersion, you have a true zero. So, if you want to take your zeroing to the next level, this is what you do. This is what professionals do when they zero their precision rifles is they find the cone of dispersion shooting at least a 20 shot group and adjust their zero off of that. And then as long as they impact within that cone of dispersion when they're out zeroing, they don't adjust their zero. That way you're not chasing your tail like this and this and this and this.